Exactly. My favorite thing that I think I've ever read or heard about organizational change was the great organizational theorist Edgar Schein. Sat down with Harvard Business Review after spending decades studying all this, and they said to him, "Okay, what did you learn in 50 years of research?" And he said, "Well, really, it just was one thing, and that is that." People in organizations don't change until their fear of survival exceeds their fear of learning. So, mostly it's so hard to learn and it's so scary that
right.
You have to have this kind of threat. And I feel like actually we just lived through the last 10 years we actually wasted 2 major crises in the world.
Right.
I will never forgive George Bush for many things, but the thing I will absolutely never forgive him for is that he could have asked us to do anything in this country. Anything.
When you said 2 crises, I thought you meant the first election and the second one, but anyway.
Right. 9/11, and
Those
then I
were
think
pivotal
Obama
points.
failed
Right.
to ask enough of the moment that he inherited.
Right.
So there is something about that sort of moment of fear, and when your survival is in play. And the problem with so many of these long-term things that we face in this context of time is that we don't experience them in a way that seems to threaten our survival.
No, right. And that's the point of doing experiential scenarios and bringing it out in people, is that there is a fundamentally emotional component to this kind of work, which has to do with there's this book, Switch. Chip Heath and Dan Heath, where they talk about the rider and the elephant as being, that's their metaphor for the 2 sides of the psychological system, the rational and the emotional, and you have to motivate the elephant as well as persuade the rider in order to move in the desired direction. And so, I think that translating futures work and scenarios into experiences that people can have is a way of bringing these things out. And it might scare the hell out of the elephant to do that, but a hypothetical conversation like that is the safe space where you can go through those things. Rather than waiting for the crisis to happen. One thing that we said, in response to the prankster newspaper coverage of some of the interventions we did in the public, was that it's better to be surprised by a simulation than blindsided by reality, because the simulation can't hurt you. If you wait until the reality, hits you over the head and you move into crisis mode, well, yeah, politically it's a lot easier to defend because look, there's a crisis. It's really self-evident, but you've already lost the opportunity to actually move proactively towards the future that you want. And also crisis can be abused, as you've just suggested.
I've missed